Hey, you guys, welcome to episode 2 of Strings and Stuff with Jonny Barefoot. And I just want to say off the top of this one, thank you very much for all the views that episode 1 got. Excellent, thanks very much. Also, picked up six new subscribers. Thank you very much, and one like. It all adds up. So thanks a lot. Thanks very much. It was nice to see. And so this episode, let's just jump right in, is going to be about slash chords. I mentioned it briefly in episode 1. Said we were going to discuss that later. So that's today. That's this episode. Slash chords. Now, what I mean about that is when you have, say, I guess the most common one, but a very common one, is if you have a C chord, and it might say C with a slash and then G. So that would mean you would have a bass. That's a bass note that you want to have in the chord. Now, the bass note usually for a C chord would be C. Commonly in guitar, you have what's called the first inversion of a chord. So you have the first note being C, the bass, and then the third and the fifth, and that's a triad. And then you put the octave on top, which is another C, but up one there from the first C. And then you could put an E in there because it's already in there as well, the octave. So that's a first inversion of a chord. When you have the bass, third, and fifth. Now, what I mean by that, I just want to stop and mention about that. What I mean by first, fifth, fourth, third, all those is degree of the scale. So a little bit of theory about that if you don't know about scales and things. When you play a scale, you'll start on C. Let's start with C, which is all the white keys on the piano. And then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there you are at the octave, at a C again. So it goes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So when I'm talking about the fifth degree of the scale, that would be in a C scale, would be a G. C, D, E, F, G. But because that's already in the chord rather, you want a bass note. Now the bass note being the lowest note of the chord. So you go down C, B, A, G down here. So you're going to use all 4 fingers for that. You want to put a G note at the bottom. Now you can tell already immediately, it just makes it sound much more fuller. Much more fuller. More full. There it is, with. Without, still sounds okay, but with, it's a fuller sounding chord. And when you're playing solo guitar, or if you're in, say, I don't know, power trio or something like that, with just a bass player and a drummer, or just solo guitar, having fuller chords is, in my thinking, well, it depends on what you're looking for in your song, but it's just fuller. It just sounds bigger. And that's using the fifth degree of the scale. And that happens a lot. Here, an A chord with the fifth degree being an E. So it would be A/E. Like that. Or let's say, double bars. I'm going to get into that as well. We can get into double bars later. But let's say with that, a B chord that you're going to do a double bar. So you see you've got a bar here with your first finger and with your third or fourth finger. I usually use my fourth finger because it's easier to hyperextend and you get that top note like that. But if you extend your first finger down onto the 6th string, you have the F sharp. So that's a B with a /F sharp bass. That's using the fifth. You can use, say, the third the third of a scale. So the third degree of the scale, like a D chord. There's just a regular D chord with a D bass. With the fifth, so D slash A. It sounds nice, but sometimes, quite a lot of the time, people will. Now you have to have. Although my hands are small, I don't have really big hands for long fingers for this, but I can still do it. Other people have much longer fingers, and they can hang their thumb over to get the F sharp a lot easier, but I can still do it. Or you can just use all four fingers like that and get the F sharp down there. So that's a third, and that sounds kind of nice. An E chord with a G sharp bass. But that one, I mean, you might want to use it for sure. But it might just be sort of a passing chord. Like if you're playing from an E going up to an A, so you want to go from E to A, because using the slash chords with a different bass, quite a lot of the time you're going from one place to another, and you want to do it in a nice full rounded sort of way. So here you have E, D with an F sharp bass, G or E with a G sharp bass, and then A. So like that. So also going down from, say, G to E minor. You might want to walk that down. You could just walk it with notes like that, or you might want to use a D slash F sharp bass, so a D with an F sharp. Like that. And two, you don't necessarily have to be adding on an extra chord on the bottom. You could take a chord, like a G chord, say, like that uses all 6 strings already, and just play it from the B. Like that. And that one, maybe you are passing from a C to an A minor. So you would go C, G with a slash B, to A minor. So like that. So you can use those chords. James Taylor does a lot of that sort of thing, using partial chords and walking with those partial chords from one place to another. Yeah. Let's see. What was another thing I was? Oh yeah. Quite a lot of the time, I've learned a couple of Billy Joel and Elton John songs to play, and they're piano players, of course. So you have to end up using different chords on guitar that you wouldn't necessarily use otherwise if the song was written by a guitar player. Like playing a G chord with an A bass, which would be like G slash A, being the second degree of the scale, or the 9th degree. Depends. Like I'm going to do a whole thing about extensions where I'll explain like 9th, 4th, all that, suspended chords, all that sort of thing. But that's for another day. So here we go. So that sounds really nice. So that's a G chord. So sort of a partial bar chord is a full bar chord. Partial bar chord with an A bass. So G slash A. Sounds really neat. Also, in a Tiny Dancer is one. He does G and then F with an A bass. Tiny Dancer by Elton John. So yeah, they're really interesting. It's neat because that's a cool sound that you might not think of using just the chords by itself. So that's slash chords. You might see them on a chord chart and wonder what that's all about. And so you just have to know a little bit about music theory. Not much, but you don't have to. But for me, knowing more about the music theory just makes it more interesting. You can understand it better. You know why you're going from one place to another. You don't have to, though. A lot of people just do it by feel. They don't know anything at all about music theory, and that's fine. Famously, somebody was talking to Miles Davis after he met Jimi Hendrix. And they asked him, and said, why don't you teach him a thing or two about music there, Miles. And Miles apparently said something like, no, I would have ruined it. And if you tell Jimi Hendrix about some music theory, yeah, you might ruin what he's doing. You don't need to think about what he's doing. He's got it on feel. So, yeah, so there's different schools of thought, of course. Personally, I like to, that one school of thought, learn the rules and then break them. So that's one way of thinking. Or just pick it all up on feel and don't worry about the rules at all. Okay, so anyway, I guess that kind of wraps it up today. Yeah, if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe. Thank you once again to all my new subscribers. And like the video if you like it. It's always nice to see. Thanks. Small victories. But also, yeah, hit that bell and see when I've got some new videos coming out. Yeah, this one was a little bit later, about a week, almost a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm going to be having new videos coming up, hopefully once every week or two. Okay, so until next time, take care, everybody. And this has been Jonny Barefoot for Strings and Stuff with Jonny Barefoot.